Bandits killed 2 soldiers, 2 vigilantes in Plateau ambush. Northern stakeholders rally behind Tinubu, highlight gains in security and infrastructure. Kano Python scare sparks debate on private wildlife ownership. And on the foreign scene, Israel rejects ceasefire demands as Hamas continues to hold hostages. Hello, good afternoon and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa. Thank you so much for joining us. Now we'll begin with Plateau State, where bandits on Tuesday afternoon ambushed soldiers and vigilantes around Dogorua community of Bashar district in Wase local government area of Plateau State, killing at least 2 soldiers and 2 other vigilantes. Residents of the community said the bandit also took away the rifles of the soldiers. The residents also said the incident occurred around 1 p.m. when the soldiers and vigilantes were trailing the bandits after an attempted attack in the area. The traditional leader of the Safio Abdullahi Yakuku, under whose supervision Dogorua falls, confirmed the incident and condemning the attack, which he said took the victims unaware. Spokesperson of Operation Safe Haven, Major Samson Zakom, was yet to respond to inquiries regarding the incident as at press time. Our correspondent reports that community of Wase have been experiencing bandit attacks, resulting in the deaths of many and destruction of property. And now we move to Zamfara. The Zamfara state government has strongly condemned the recent inhumane killings of innocent captives by a notorious terrorist gang operating in parts of the state. According to a statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Culture, Mahmoud Antawazi, this barbaric act is yet another reminder of the evil that these criminals represent. The statement also said Governor Lawan described the attack as cowardly, desperate, and a sign that the terrorists are losing ground, adding that government will not rest until criminals involved in these atrocities is captured or neutralized. To the terrorists, he told them that their time is up as Zamfara will no longer be their hide place, warning that the full weight of law and force will crush every network of violence across the state. It revealed that security patrols are ongoing in vulnerable areas with a new strategy focused on offensive operations to dismantle bandit hideouts permanently. And now Governor Mahmoud Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State has reaffirmed the Northern Governors Forum support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, citing progress in infrastructure, security, and economic reforms. Speaking at a two-day interactive session organized by the Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in Kaduna, Governor Yahaya said the North remains committed to Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. He noted that the region delivered over 60% of votes in the 2023 election and is beginning to see the results. Among key projects highlighted are the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway, the Kano-Katsina-Maradi rail line, rehabilitation of Kaduna Refinery, the Kolmani oil fields, and the proposed Sokoto-Badagry superhighway. On security, Yahaya said over 300 terrorist commanders have been neutralized in recent months due to improved intelligence and military coordination. He also condemned the creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development and praised federal efforts in tackling the Almajiri crisis and out-of-school children through education grants. And now, the 2025 local government elections in Rivers State have been officially postponed. Originally scheduled for August 9th, voters will now head to polls on Saturday, August 30, 2025. IEC Chairman Michael Ode announced the new date today during a crucial stakeholders meeting at the Commission's headquarters in Port Harcourt. More details in this report.
The Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Chairman Michael Ode stated that the postponement was necessitated by the recent state of emergency declared in Rivers State. which significantly disrupted regional election plans. He emphasized that adjusting the electoral calendar became imperative given these realities.
The Commission may postpone the election, provided that the reason for the postponement is cogent and verifiable. Therefore, by the powers vested upon the Commission by this provision, I hereby announce the postponement of the local government council election earlier fixed to hold on Saturday, 9th August 2025, for a very obvious and incontrovertible reason.
Alongside the new election date, RCEC unveiled a comprehensive revised timetable and guidelines for this entire process. Stakeholders, including party leaders, election observers, and media representatives, were present to review the updates ahead of the poll. The Rivers State Police Command has pledged to provide adequate security before, during, and after the elections, ensuring safety of voters and electoral personnel across the state.
It is my singular honor and privilege as the chairman of RCEC to officially unveil the timetable and schedule of events for the said election. And so it is hereby unveiled.
The Commission is urging all participating political parties and stakeholders to adhere strictly to the new schedule as preparations intensify for the rescheduled council polls. Meanwhile, mixed reactions have trailed the announcement of a new date by the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, with some stakeholders saying the postponement raised concerns but are in support if it leads to better preparedness.
Anytime, any day. Don't forget that we have always said so, that we are 100% ready for elections. We have said so many times. The reason why we opposed the other time was because things were not done right. And for us, it was about selectocracy. But this is election, and we're ready, very, very ready.
How can an undemocratic process give birth to a democratic process? We believe that the emergency rule in Rivers State is affecting not just me, but every Rivers State citizens. And I ask again, what is the rationale behind the conduct of local government election in a state of emergency when the both parties or all parties that was actually saying to be aggrieved have reconciled their differences? The FCT minister have reconciled his differences with the suspended governor. The State House of Assembly have reconciled their differences with the suspended governor. So what happened that Mr. President Bola Tinubu has refused to reinstate the suspended governor for the conduct of local government election?
By this action today, it has reposed more confidence that the state of emergency was not solely for state capture but to restore peace, and we are very happy that constitutional leadership is going to be reinstated soon, and we are calling on all youths, all critical stakeholders in the state to give the needed support.
I don't think anybody should have an issue with election. What election is all about is participation. If you know how to play your game, you win. If you don't know how to play your game, you lose. But be sure that everybody will complain about election.
With the new date set, all eyes are on RCEC to deliver a hitch-free and credible election. Earned.
Now in Jigawa, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC has confirmed the death of 4 persons and the disappearance of 5 others following a boat accident in Jigawa State. The incident occurred on Sunday evening at Zangomaje village in Taura local government area when a canoe carrying 17 passengers capsized mid-journey. Most of the passengers were young girls aged between 10 and 13 who traveling from Digawa village in Jahon local government area. According to the NSCDC's public relations officer, Badruddin Tijani, 7 people were rescued alive, while 4 bodies have been recovered and 5 passengers remain missing. Tijani, who said the cause of the accident is yet to be determined, but investigations are ongoing, added that rescue efforts led by the NSCDC in collaboration with local divers and volunteers are still underway. The command has assured the public of ongoing measures to improve waterway safety and prevent further occurrences. And now, the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has issued a 21-day notice of total and indefinite strike, citing the federal government's failure to address key demands affecting doctors' welfare. In a communiqué released after its emergency meeting in Abuja, the NMA listed unresolved issues, including unpaid commerce arrears, suspended salary adjustments, and the government's failure to honor past agreements. The association expressed concern over the worsening state of the health sector and warned that a nationwide strike will begin if the government fails to act by August 17th. NMA President Professor Bala Audu called for urgent government intervention to avoid disruption of health services and further brain drain in the medical field. And now, Nigeria has recorded 152 deaths from Lassa fever so far in 2025. This is according to a report by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, on Monday. According to the report, the case fatality rate now stands at 18.7%, higher than 17.3% recorded during the same period in 2024. As of epidemiological week 28, Nigeria reported a total of 6,520 suspected cases and 811 confirmed cases across 21 states and 105 local government areas. The NCDC also noted that the number of new confirmed cases in week 28 remained the same as in week 27, with fresh infections reported in Ondo, Edo, and Benue State. A significant majority of 89% of confirmed Lassa fever cases were recorded in 5 states, namely Ondo with 32%, Bauchi 23%, Edo 17%, Taraba 14%, and Ebonyi 3%. The remaining 11% of confirmed cases were reported from 16 other states. And now, panic swept through parts of Kano following reports that a python had escaped from a residence allegedly owned by a Nigerian's former Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris. The property located in the Daneji area of Mandawari was said to house a python, a crocodile, and a lion cub, all reportedly kept under a valid license. Although authorities now say the animals are in safe custody, the incident has sparked debate over the safety and legality of keeping wild animals in residential areas. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim visited the neighborhood and brings us this report.
What began as a routine morning in Daneji quickly spiraled into confusion and fear after word spread that a python had escaped from this house said to belong to former Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris. The news triggered panic across Mandawari, Kabara, Daneji, and nearby communities. Honestly, we were scared. Since we are neighbors, we feared anything could happen. People even said the lion and the crocodile had escaped too. But now they've been taken to the Kano Zoo. However, not everyone agrees on what happened. Aminu, who claims to know the residents well, believes the situation was exaggerated. What people are saying about a lion or snake roaming the streets isn't true. From what we heard, 2 snakes were kept in a case and one went missing but was later found hiding within the premises. Actually, the python wasn't roaming the streets. I think people just panicked when they heard it had gone missing. Amid the confusion, officials from the Kano Zoo intervened. The managing director, Sadiq Kura Mohammed, confirmed in a radio interview that the animals, a python, a crocodile, and a lion cub, have now been safely relocated. He also confirmed that the owner possessed valid licenses to keep the animals. While calm has returned to Daneji, the incident has raised serious concerns over the private ownership of exotic and potentially dangerous animals in densely populated urban neighborhoods. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Rebased Nigeria GDP raises concern as experts question real impact on citizens. There's some more written. Just stay with us. Welcome back and thank you so much for watching us. Now, in case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. We told you that bandits killed 2 soldiers, 2 vigilantes in Plateau ambush. And northern stakeholders rally behind Tinubu highlight gains in security and infrastructure. Now we'll move on to more stories. Services and telecom sectors recorded huge growth as Nigeria's rebased GDP moved from $188 billion to $243 billion. Despite the growth, however, concerns remain as whether the numbers reflect the true economic condition of Nigerians. Yusuf Akogo reports.
The National Bureau of Statistics last week released the long-awaited rebased GDP data. The new numbers put Nigeria's nominal GDP at $243 billion, indicating a growth of 3.13%. NBS arrived at the numbers using 2019 as base year. Economic analysts are concerned that government has prioritized statistics over people's welfare.
We rebased. We've taken on additional productive sectors. We're counting them now. It's pushed us up in terms of value, but our exchange rates has actually dropped us, ultimately in terms of ranking. However, it's a good thing for the government to look at where it is. Remember, the aim of the government is that we should have a $1 trillion economy.
GDP measures growth, but GDP can be accounted by a fraction, a 2%, 20% of the population can account for whole GDP. So GDP is a normative, it's a nominal figure that shows growth, but in itself does not translate in the improvement or living standard of people. It does not reduce poverty and it doesn't lead to better health, education, and is a more and there's no equitable distribution of resources when you're using GDP.
For most Nigerians, any economic data that does not affect the lives of the people positively is an exercise in futility.
I think they don't have a plan for citizens. I may say it because everything is turning upside down. I can talk to myself because I have a family. You understand? Like now in my area now, the house is not affordable to people. You see everything jacking up. If you ask the landlord is saying things are putting money every day.
This government, the president to look into this thing. Our leaders should look into this thing and do a better things in this country. This country is bad. It's bad. Seriously. It's bad. Everybody is suffering.
Which way would they buy? Would they buy carbon? Very costly. Gas, very costly. Even food, this mama put where they here. No piece of 500 naira. It start from 800 naira. Gari, if you want common gari, where we say if you get 200 naira before, you go drink gari with granite. You know they now. If you want to drink gari now, you go to spend 600 or 700 naira.
Despite rebasing, Nigeria still remains the 4th largest economy in Africa, behind South Africa with a GDP of $110.338 billion, Egypt with $347.342 billion, and Algeria with an economy of $268.885 billion. The previous GDP rebasing in 2014 pushed Nigeria's economy to number 1 in Africa. Yusuf Akogu, Trust Television News, Abuja.
And now away from Nigeria, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar has rejected growing international pressures for a ceasefire in Gaza and the recognition of Palestinian states, describing the push as a distorted campaign. Speaking at a press briefing in Jerusalem on Tuesday, Sa'ar said halting the conflict while Hamas remains in power and continues to hold hostages will be a tragedy for both Israelis and Palestinians. International calls for a ceasefire have intensified in recent weeks, with aid agencies warning of famine conditions in the besieged territory. However, Sa'ar insisted that Hamas is solely responsible for the ongoing conflict and said external pressure would only embolden the group. He also criticized efforts by some foreign governments, including France, to revive the two-state solution. The war has drawn global concern over rising civilian casualties and humanitarian conditions in Gaza, with United Nations and several countries urging an immediate ceasefire to allow aid deliveries. Now, at least 30 people have been confirmed dead following days of torrential rains in China's capital, Beijing. According to state media, the fatalities occurred in the northern district of Meiyun and Yangjing, with 28 deaths recorded in Meiyun alone. The downpour, which began over the weekend, has triggered landslide, burst riverbanks, and damaged infrastructure across northern China. Authorities said the rainfall reached up to 543 millimeters in some areas, making it one of the heaviest in recent years. More than 80,000 residents have been evacuated from high-risk zones, with power outages reported in at least 136 villages. In Meiyun district, where a major reservoir hit its highest level since 1959, water has released to prevent overflow. Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered emergency team to intensify search and rescue operations and take all necessary measures to prevent further losses of life. And now in sport, Nigeria's D Tigress will face either Cameroon or Angola in the quarter-finals of 2025 Women's Afro Basket in Cote d'Ivoire. The Tigress, who are reigning African champions, booked their place in the last 8 after a hard-fought 60-55 win against Mozambique in their second Group D game on Monday. It was 2 wins from 2 matches after they opened their campaigns with a dominant 92-45 wins against Rwanda on Saturday. The 2 victories saw the Nigerian team top the group and will now face the winner between Cameroon and Angola on Thursday, July 31st. The round of 16 encounters between Cameroon and Angola is billed for Wednesday, July 30th. To get to the rounds of 16, Cameroon finished second in Group B after recording 1 win and 1 defeat. And with that, we have come to the end of News Update on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentaries. Thank you so much for watching.